Now, Frost and Sullivan says Africa can create a blueprint for sustainable and inclusive industrialization if countries are willing to embrace the fourth industrial revolution technologies within special economic zones. Joining us to unpack the detail of this is Hannro Steenekamp, who is a consulting analyst at Frost and Sullivan. Thank you so much for your time, Hannro. Now, let's talk about the impact of special economic zones, the impact that they have had on Africa's economic growth, and also just how effective the models have been.
Hi, ladies. I hope you guys are doing well. Special economic zones. So, as I'm sure most of the listeners are aware, SEZs are specific designated zones that provide tariff and tax exemptions. And, this is with the goal of these areas or these zones becoming business and economic hubs. Now, with regards to your question, if we look at Africa, it's been very mixed results. There's been some ups and downs. If you look at the most successful ones, surprisingly, it's been the ones that have a very specific focus. So let's focus on a very specific industry. Like if I can give some examples, I'm sure you're aware of the Tanja Med Zone in Morocco. Now this zone in Morocco, I think it employs over 100,000 people, and it has everything encompassing the automotive value chain. So it incorporates all aspects of automotive manufacturing. And also with some other examples that I can name, if you look at Africa, the ones that have been most successful have been the ones that have been very focused on specific industry development in Africa.
Thank you for that, Hannro. I'm keen to speak about, what has happened when SEZs have proven to not be as effective as possible. Of course, there's many, stories of them being real contributors to growth, but there's some that have fallen quite flat.
No, absolutely. There's definitely been quite a few that have fallen flat. Now, this is frequently what you get is they would, the government would establish an SEZ, but just the lack of actual funding going into that, if your larger players don't actually put their money where the economic zone is, what's the use in making the zone itself? You're not going to experience the job creation and all the positive effects that can come from a special economic zone.
You talk about, obviously, actions from government and lack of funding. Is this a policy problem?
It's not necessarily a policy problem. The problem is just we need specific plans.
Okay.
So, as I mentioned earlier, if you look at the special economic zones that have been very successful, it's been the focused ones. So if you can, for example, if I can take this to South Africa, a bit closer to home, the Tshwane Automotive SEZ. If you call it that automotive SEZ, this one has attracted over $1 billion of investment. From Ford, the car company Ford, to produce the next generation of Ford Rangers. So once that is focused and the investors know what it's about, they can, it's a lot more likely that you will get that investment and the money for the zone.
So, Hannro, let's speak about, the fourth industrial revolution here, and the technologies there, and how they could maybe boost SEZs and maybe even possibly attract that funding that we so badly need. We are seeing a huge AI boom across the world, with, of course, investors having an appetite for it. Might that be the way in which we make SEZs more attractive to investors?
Yes, no, absolutely. Now, if you look at Africa and the success of the countries in Africa, it's very much based on being front and center in terms of embracing new technologies. Now, AI, machine learning, blockchain, automation, all of these sort of fourth industrial revolution technologies, they require very unique skill sets, and ultimately that can drive the export of products, bringing in, much needed currency and investment into Africa. Now, SEZs have the potential to provide a bedrock for this investment. So what you could be potentially looking at is SEZs that focus, as I mentioned, the industry focus earlier, on fourth industrial revolution technologies. So getting all the talent, getting all the development, the training, as well as the manufacturing in these areas. So you could look at a, optimistic end goal could be, robots streamlining production, AI optimizing your supply chains, and then also blockchain ensuring fair trade with all the checks and balances that come with that. So these SEZs can then become like innovation sandboxes and attract, top tech talent from all over the continent and the world, creating, jobs we haven't even thought of yet.
Now, of course, we have to embrace this technology. Is, the AI adoption that we are currently seeing right now in Africa going at a good enough pace for special economic zones to thrive sooner rather than later or not?
Looking at AI adoption, Africa is definitely not, we're not as, forward with it as you would get in the more, the traditional Western countries. We need more AI adoption, but this is definitely on the increase. I mean, if I'm just scrolling through my social media, there's too much about AI and artificial intelligence, and it's definitely something that people are talking about. And I definitely believe that the adoption of these AI is definitely on the increase. Now, with that, we also need government intervention. So I think what we need policies that promote AI as an engine of industry and not as a job killer, if you know what I mean.
With that said, Hannro, as we speak about the adoption of AI, I'm wondering if as we try to use it for growth as a constant, might we even get to a point where we develop our own? Or is it clear also at this point that, Africa will be an importer and a consumer of AI, an adopter of AI technologies, and that might then take a while for us to see it really fully integrated into industries and into SEZs?
Yeah, no, you make a very good point. It's definitely, if we look at the AI landscape right now, it's all coming from abroad. It's coming from outside of Africa. It's your companies that can put a lot of money into the semiconductors involved and that can put money in NVIDIA. You're looking at Google, Facebook, OpenAI. I know X, or formerly Twitter, have their own AI thing. The machine learning, everything, its majority is coming from the West at the moment. But it's definitely, if we can just attract top talent into to staying in Africa and not leaving for better pastures abroad, and can develop those skills here, we can definitely have a program in which we develop our own AI models and our own technologies and processes. And obviously, if it's done from an African perspective, out of our view, it'll definitely, if you look at the amount of opportunities as well as, let's say, issues that we have, it just creates more opportunities. And it's definitely something that if we can embrace AI and the development of all of our technologies, it'll be very beneficial for us as a continent.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time and just outlining those opportunities that could exist if we integrated AI into our special economic zones in Africa. That was Consulting Analyst at Frost Sullivan, Hannro Steenekamp. Your final market update is up next.